Everyone's experience of sound is as unique as their fingerprint. And even with the same audiogram, people process sound differently. With Oticon Alta, what we've done is introduced a personalization process that will engage the patient at every step of the fitting and will include their preferences in the initial programming. We want to optimize the way the patient likes to hear without really sacrificing the way they need to hear, and this can lead to a whole new level of patient satisfaction. Now, for the professional, having this personalization process allows them to figure out if there's any room for improvement, and if so, gives them the tools that they need to make these adjustments. Alta uses a 3-step fitting process to unlock the power of personalization. Now, the first step, the initial fitting, is an interactive session between the clinician and the patient. To set the personal profile, the clinician will collect information like the patient's audiogram, their age, their experience with amplification, and then they'll build on that by using the Preference Manager in Genie. Now, the Preference Manager relies on 4 key questions and sound samples to explore more subjective elements of their sound preferences. And all of this information will then be integrated into the initial fitting. Step 2 is active listening. And this is really an essential part of the process because there are some elements that we can measure and there are other elements that only our patients can tell us about. We have 2 different ways to collect this information. The first is the Alta Experience Questionnaire, and this is a paper and pencil tool. The Alta Experience app can be downloaded from the App Store and can be used with the iPhone or an iPad or with Android phones as well. The patient can log in their responses right on the spot, and then eventually in a few days when they're finished, they can just email their responses to their clinician. Whichever method or combination of methods that a patient chooses to use, the clinician is going to have much more information than she had before, and the patient is taking much more ownership of the entire process. It all comes together in step 3, the optimization session. Now the clinician can try to get an idea of how their patient is progressing by using maybe a follow-up interview or information from their questionnaire, or also some data from the activity analyzer. As optimization continues, now the clinician will engage the patient in a structured listening experience. And this actually uses A/B sound samples and asks the patient to make some sound quality judgments. Well, in this case, you're just asking your patient to pick which speech signal sounds more clear and pleasant. The patient's responses to structured listening will now shape the settings for the Humanik Manager. Humanik Manager is a patient-focused tool that allows the clinician to factor in more subjective and personal elements into the fitting. For the clinician, it gives them a new opportunity to both confirm and modify the settings in the personal profile. The Alta personalization process builds on what we already know and do well. Alta is by far the best instrument that Oticon has ever designed, but it's clear to us, and it will be to the patients, that it is what the hearing care professional brings to the process that's going to make the difference in getting the best personalized solution. So it's the expertise of the hearing care professional, coupled with the power and the innovation of Alta, working together that are going to unlock the power of personalization.